to another edition of Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And here's your host, Russ McClellan.
Hey, welcome back one more time. Perhaps maybe the last time, because guess what? Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends is moving to a video podcast. That's right. 5 years on the radio has been awesome. Didn't really know how fast 5 years goes, but when you do a show a couple times a month and you look back and you've done like 120 some shows, it's been cool. It's been a lot of fun. We've inspired a lot of people, I hope. We have educated a lot of people, I hope. We've introduced a lot of our realtors, and we're pushing 90 real estate brokers. When we started, I think we opened with 12. So we've had a good run. I think in the beginning, we're going to call this podcast Real Estate Madness. So you can look for it starting in January at our website, realestatemadness.com. And we'll be doing the same concepts, maybe a little crazier because everything will be on video. So, my face for radio better change. I don't know if I'll grow any hair by then, but probably not. Anyway, so just excited about change. And change is one of those things that's hard to talk about sometimes because it's uncomfortable, which is weird, right? Because the only thing that is certain in life is change. But getting comfortable often means we stop growing. When you stop striving for greatness, striving for change, when you do not embrace the uncomfortable part of life, often you find yourself stuck in a rut. We see that in real estate where people, they had a good run. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years at 3%. Guess what? The interest rate is doubled in 1 year. Doesn't mean it's going to stay that way forever. And it doesn't even mean that's a bad thing, because I ask people all the time, what would be better? 6% with a flexible seller that might be willing to give you the opportunity to do an inspection so you don't end up buying a lemon, so to speak, and maybe pay some of your points, pay some of your closing costs because they're a little more flexible, because maybe there's not the hysteria that we saw for 3 or 4 years. So I think this market versus maybe having to pay $60,000 over asking price and competing with 100 buyers on every deal isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's kind of a cliche by now, but you marry the house, you date the rate. You can always refinance and use this opportunity to get into a house at a different level with a different set of terms. And you might find with the right educated real estate broker and the right mortgage broker that good things can happen. Today, this show is called Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. And today I have a good friend, Lesle Bitterman. Hi, Lesle.
Good afternoon.
I am stoked that you are here. You know me, I plan every 6-7 minutes. But I was thinking about you all week. And today, I really appreciate you sitting down to talk about your experience with me, how we got to know each other, and your past, where you're at today, where you think you're going. And then maybe I think your story, I know your story, is going to be very impactful. We've talked about this a little bit, but I have this idea, CRRO. I call it CRRO, which may not make sense, but not a lot of stuff that I do makes sense in the beginning. We kind of just sharpen the iron sharpens iron over time with me. But CRRO stands for the Community Realtor Referral Opportunity. And what I was thinking is, growing up in Lake Chelan Valley, how many people struggle, Lesle, with, right now with inflation and gas at $5 a gallon? They struggle, right? Yeah. Well, Lake Chelan especially, and Wenatchee, and Leavenworth, just about everybody at one point or another runs across people that talk about real estate, right?
Oh, yeah, every day.
So our company has a free real estate school, which I think your daughter is in.
Yes, she is.
That's awesome. K-Score. It's a free 90-hour class online. You take it at your own pace. You don't have to pay for it. And that qualifies you to take the state exam. The beautiful thing about the state of Washington is once you have a real estate license, it is now legal for our company, a real estate brokerage, to pay you for a referral. Or, like in your case, you become a real estate broker and you can take it to wherever you want. So I really would love to hear your story, Lesle, because I think there's a lot of people in the hospitality business that could make a lot of extra money by doing a lot of different ways. You can do a lot of different things in real estate, right? Mm-hmm. The one thing you can do is just get your license. Say somebody sits down at a restaurant, you're a server. They say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house in Lake Chelan, Leavenworth, Wenatchee, wherever. That server goes, hey, I'm a real estate agent. I don't actively work, but I refer to my team, and they do the work. And for that, you would get 25% of that commission for 5 minutes worth of work. Now, when you're talking some of the price tags in Leavenworth and Chelan, especially, or anywhere, that can be a huge hit. I mean, an extra $3 or $4 grand, comes in the mail.
Easy.
For 5 minutes worth of work you probably forgot about. All you have to do is send it to us. So we're going to hold a seminar at the first of the year, probably in January, in Chelan to start with. And I appreciate you. We got to work out the dates, but you and maybe Sarah Lopman, she said she was going to participate because you guys both were in the hospitality business when I met you. Mm-hmm. So could we just explain to people this is a real life story about how it worked out for you. And I remember when I ordered bacon and eggs, and then I said, you'd be good at real estate. And you go, yes, what? So from your words, tell me your story so everybody can be inspired by it.
Well, I was in the food industry for 20 plus years, and I'd always thought about doing real estate and was just kind of scared because of change, and being in hospitality, it's a little bit easier having cash every day. And if you've been there before, you know what I'm talking about. So I decided I wanted to get my real estate license, and I had talked about it with my husband. We were on the same page, and then I met you.
That's Smitty's,
At
right?
Smitty's, yeah.
Yeah.
And you were like, you would be great at real estate. Have you ever thought about being a realtor? And I said, as a matter of fact, funny thing, I just signed up to take my classes. Now, this was before we had K-School. So I did. I got my real estate license, even though I was scared out of my mind.
Yeah, and how long ago was that now?
4 years.
4 years ago, yeah. So you're pretty close to the beginning because we opened in spring of 2018.
I think that we had 40 some agents when I started. So we're double that now.
Yeah, pushing 90 on the way to 100. Yeah.
Yeah. So I used having my own license. I used that in order to get into my home that I just recently purchased.
Yeah, so I'm gonna since you brought that up, I tell this story a lot about you. I'm think about this. You had rented your house a long time, treated it like you owned it.
14 years.
14 years, raised your kids there, fixed it up like you owned it. Pride of ownership was there. And then just coincidentally, the time that you decided to get a real estate license, you also work pretty hard, you get a lead. Mm-hmm. At that same time, your landlord, after 14 years, surprises you and says, guess what, I got to sell. Mm-hmm. And you're like, uh-oh, that's not what we were planning on doing because that's kind of now it's time sensitive, urgent. And then you happen to sell a home on Lake Chelan.
Yes.
For $1 million.
Yes.
Or more. $1.5 million or something.
It was 1.5, yeah.
$1.5 million deal. Bam! You made a bunch of money as a real estate broker, and with that money, you were able to negotiate a deal to ultimately buy your house.
Yes.
So would it be fair to say that if you weren't in real estate, you may have not been able to buy the house?
I fully believe I would have missed that opportunity had I not had my real estate license.
So isn't that weird? At the same time that we have fear of a lot of things, fear of rejection, fear of the unknown, fear of failure, a lot of people in your position at Smitty's, when I'd said, hey, you'd have been good at real estate. There's a lot of people that have thought about selling real estate. Mm-hmm. Think about doing a lot of things. But dreaming, it doesn't really get it done unless you act.
You have to take the first steps.
Yeah. So what would you say to people that are listening about maybe they're stuck? And one of the things we try to do on the show is help people go from being stuck to unstuck. And it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong with the industry that people are in. It doesn't mean that they have to get out of the industry. That's the beautiful thing about that. So how would you describe it to people that were you before you made the commitment and acted on that commitment to take the test and do all the work that you did?
Well, I know we've talked before about being comfortable with being uncomfortable and trying something new and pushing yourself. It is very uncomfortable. Not something that it took me a long time to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. So with that being said, I have made leaps and bounds, striving for more in order to get myself out of where I was comfortable and kind of like accepted reality that, yes, I'm just going to have my tips every day to making a change that will better my children's future and my husband's and my future. So
when you're talking to when people are afraid, and would you say that there's a lot of different ways to do it? Like you could transition, right? You transitioned correctly, right? Mm-hmm. You didn't just go, hey, I quit, and you started. You had to keep your day job and you still do it. So
I still do.
Yeah, so that's
couple
the
days
cash.
a week.
Yeah, a couple days a week, you make that cash. Well, we come back to the next segment. I want to really kind of focus on a lot of people right now that I feel are stressed out. Mm-hmm. I think COVID was stressful. I think it hurt a lot of people financially, and now we're dealing with all kinds of loveliness with inflation, the war in Ukraine, gas prices, politics. It's just real easy to get real negative, and the winter. But I think we can change that. And I think you're a perfect example of how people should look to you, because I don't know if I've ever seen you down. Now look at you 4 years later. I gave you a bunch of 5 minutes notice and you're on the radio. I love it. All right, we'll come right back with Lesle Bitterman, a perfect example of what's possible in America and at Keller Williams with K-Score, our free real estate school. She's amazing. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be right back.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home sweet home, home sweet home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. I want to talk to you about something. Do you feel stuck? Do you feel the financial pressures of the COVID virus? That was fun, wasn't it? I'll tell you what, real estate can be a game changer for you, and I'm here to help you. If you want to give me a call at 509-888-0038, I want to talk about your life and getting unstuck. We are growing rapidly. We're the fastest growing real estate company in all of North Central Washington. Give us a call. I want to help you. 509-888-0038.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams' award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@kwncw.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck.
You're tuned to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Now back to Russ.
Welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan, and today Lesle Bitterman. A perfect example of what is possible when you face your fears of going from that comfort zone to where the magic happens, and that's outside that comfort zone somewhere. The magic is different for everybody, right, Lesle? I mean, for you, it wasn't a predictable environment. You couldn't have predicted your home was going to be up for sale that you lived in for 14 years.
Yeah, no.
You sure didn't say, yeah, Russ, when I saw you at Smitty's and I ordered bacon and eggs and said you'd be good at real estate. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to get a real estate license. I'm going to kick butt in it. And then when my home becomes available, because the guy's going to probably call me this, in a year or so and sell it, and then I'm going to be able to buy it. So, yeah, I got a plan. That's not what happened.
No.
Yeah, it's funny, isn't it, when they say, the cliche, hindsight is 20/20. It really is. But one of the things I like to think about, and Fletcher Ellingson talks about this. We all love Fletcher Ellingson. And if you haven't talked to that guy about mindset work, you should. But he says everything's always working out. It's really just how we look at things, right? I'm pretty sure none of us are getting out alive, sadly. And in the grand scope, we're here about a minute and a half, and then it's over. But right now, more than I've noticed in a long time. Maybe it's social media. Maybe it's the war in Ukraine. Maybe it's gas. Maybe it's politics. Maybe it's this. Maybe it's that. But I see a lot of people complaining, and maybe for a good reason, right? There's a lot of people that go through tragedy, and it sucks. But the one thing that I see a lot is people complaining about not having enough money to do what they want. Maybe that's just freedom. Maybe it's to buy AU basketball shoes for their kids. But maybe they're not confident enough to take that first step for whatever reason, or maybe they don't know about it. What we're trying to do here today, what I'd really like to do is use you as a poster child of what can be done. I mean, how long did you say you were a server?
I was a server for over 18 years.
Like full-time?
Only serving for, well, actually, it was 21 years.
When I met you, you've
altogether.
been a server about 20 years or
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
And you probably thought about the real estate. You told me you thought about it.
I had thought about it a lot.
And I think that's true for a lot of people, especially in north central Washington, where, we have 300 days of sunshine and lakes and rivers and mountains and clean air and clean water and less crime and less traffic and all those things that the west side of the mountains doesn't have. Mm-hmm. So if you had a girlfriend talk to you, called you right now and said, I'm a server at a restaurant, or maybe a stranger, I want to do what you did. What are the things that maybe your perception of what it was versus how it really turned out? Because it's not, I always like to say real estate is a pretty simple business. Like, we're not astronauts, right? We're not mathematicians. We're not aerospace engineers or anything, rocket scientists. But it's not easy. It's simple, but not easy.
No, it's not easy.
It can be very complex in various ways, but relative to a lot of professions, and that's what real estate can be if you want it to be. So what would you say was the delta between what you thought it was going to be like and what really happened? And maybe it was up and down.
Yeah, well, so I was scared to give up my income, my tips per se. I was scared to give that up because that's what paid for my kids' sports, for gas in my car, groceries,
And very admirable for 2 decades. Raised kids.
Yes, I raised kids on that. So I was just scared of basically the full transition, but I didn't realize that I didn't really need to do the full transition. I still continued doing what I was doing, waiting tables, bringing in that money, and then I had afternoons and evenings and weekends free to do my real estate. So I just incorporated the both together and considered both of them to be my full-time job.
A lot of people sign up for K-Score now that it's free. We probably have 60, 70 people in school. But not a lot of people, when things are free. Sometimes it's easy.
I wish it was free when I did
it. Yeah, like save you like $500.
Yeah.
But sometimes when people don't have skin in the game, so to speak, they don't focus on it. What was it about you? You are just driven. So, that's part of it, right? You just have to decide. Mm-hmm. I tell people sometimes when they want to make a change, you got to get a little pissed off. Like, there's got to be a big why in there somewhere.
There needs to be a fire lit under your...
Yeah, because sometimes, like, I'm that way right now. Like, I'm out of shape. I was getting back in shape. Excuse maker 101. Got sick for 2 months. Excuses. You got to want it more than your excuses are, right? And so it's like, I'm just like pissed now. Like, all right, now I always got to just grab it and like get crazy mad, and I go obsessive when I get crazy mad. But sometimes I'll go a long time and say, this cheeseburger looks good. I don't need to work out. Like, I'm 53. Why would I want to work out? Just eat bad and gain 20 pounds. Got married. Hey, I'm good. It sucks. So what would you say to those people that are on the fence and they start giving you, these excuses about fear, about the test? I haven't taken a test in a long time. I hear that one. I don't have the right wardrobe. I don't have the right car. What do you think about all those?
I think that a lot of it was in my head, and I built it up to be something that it wasn't.
Okay.
I know a lot of us haven't taken tests since school, so that may be a little bit more long time ago than other things for other people. But the test wasn't it wasn't as bad as I made it out to be. So
It seems pretty monumental when you don't know what you don't know, right?
correct.
And you remember studying for a biology test or something in high school. Like, that sucks.
Yeah.
But and the classes, what they do basically is they go through exercises or chapters, and then they have a quiz at the end of each chapter. You can see what you got wrong, and then you go through the whole 90 hours online, and then you get practice exams, right? So then you can practice those practice exams. And then when you get about 80% or so on those, you're pretty well set to take the test. I mean, would you say that's fair?
Yes. Yeah.
So it's really a matter of, because it's not overly complicated, it's a lot of it in the first 90. And I'm not saying that 90 hours, and maybe tell me what you think, doesn't really teach you how to sell real estate.
No, it doesn't.
It just gets you a
It
license
just
to
gets-
make money.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, especially on the referral. I'd like to say that, I would love to give everybody referral, but the government calls that a kickback sometimes, and they don't really like that. If you're doing real estate work, it's kind of like being an attorney without a license, or a real estate broker or a mortgage broker without a license. The state has rules, so we can't just pay people. There are some people that do it, and it's not legal, so you shouldn't do that. But if it's for real estate services or referrals and you have that license, that's how we can legally pay you a 25% referral fee. So what were some of the things that kept you focused? Was it your husband? Did you have an accountability partner? Just were you driven because you wanted to change?
I was driven because I wanted to change. Yes, my husband was there kind of pushing me in the background a little bit, but I really wanted to make a change. I wanted to be able to spend more quality time and not have to be locked down to a location. And I had plenty of friends and family that were looking to buy or sell, and I wouldn't be able to help them if I didn't have a license. So, I had people in mind before I even got my license on who I was going to help.
Right.
So I used them as incentive. I didn't want to let them down. I wanted to be able to help them sell their house, find the house of their dreams, and help them get what they wanted done.
You've said help like 4 times in the last minute.
Help. Yeah,
It's funny how that, see,
I'm
it's
a
not,
helper.
that's exactly that's why I think when people do monetary goals, that's fine. I tell people to break their monetary goals in real estate down to help a couple people a month, and you make 70 grand a year or more. Like average commission is like 13 grand.
Yeah.
And at this company, depending on which way you go, I mean, a lot of times you can cap out at 17 grand and get 100% of those commissions, 80, 20, 70, 30. It's pretty crazy by only helping a couple people a month. But that's not easy. It's simple. Sounds simple, but versus I'm going to make 100 grand. Like I always ask people what their goal is. 100 grand. It's always 100 grand for some reason.
I can't look at it that way.
Well, that's what I was noticed. It was like instinctual in you, and that's what makes you, right? Like that's the part of this business that if you come with that mentality, you make it. Because if you just it's all about me, maybe you should get a stockbroker's license and go to Wall Street. That's where that money's at. Like helping your friends, family, acquaintances become their fiduciary or their ambassador to make sure they're protected. And then aligning yourself with mentors that have more experience, that can help educate you, and a firm that has a training system that really, depending on whatever you want to learn. I mean, one thing about Keller Williams is it's an education and training company that happens to sell real estate. And man, is there a lot. It's not almost too much. Like sometimes I think it's like, gosh, wow.
There's a lot of information available for you.
Yeah, if you want to hold an open house, there's 1,000 videos. Okay. Yeah, so, one of the things that I'm really kind of hammering on this because I know that there's people listening that are stuck and that have had a dream of selling real estate or just had a dream of being able to provide more for their kids or for their family or, single moms, single dads, whatever the case is. I'm here to tell you that so many of the myths are not true. Like you said, when you built the test up to be, oh my God, it's not. It's just one little step at a time, and then a combination of those steps over a period of time. Right? That's when you hit your goal. You don't focus on running a marathon. You focus on walking to the mailbox to start with, right? And then eventually, you stack all those walks, and maybe you get to be a marathon runner if that's what you want to do. Or maybe not. Maybe like me, you just run to the refrigerator, at least lately. All right, when we come right back, I want to continue this talk with Leslie. I think it's really awesome, and I know that people are inspired by you. So thanks for coming in. We'll be right back with Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Home Sweet Home.
Hey, this is Russ McClellan with Keller Williams. Thanks for tuning in to our radio show. I want everybody to know something. We offer a free real estate school, K-Score. We have a brand new team leader in Lauren Malloy. If you're interested in changing your life, if you don't have enough money, if you need extra money for those AU basketball shoes, if you want a career that actually gives you your time back, believe it or not everybody works 100 hours a week in real estate. Trust me. At the end of the day, Keller Williams provides the systems, tools, training, and technology you need to flourish. Give us a call at 509-888-0038. You can call me personally at 509-470-2416 or email our staff and Kelly Hain, my sister and our Market Center Administrator, at joinus@kw.com for more information on our free real estate school. Make it a great day. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, this is Russ McClellan. We started our real estate company, Keller Williams Realty, North Central Washington, in the spring of 2018. We've grown to be the largest real estate company in North Central Washington, and there's a reason for that. We attract people that want to keep the vast majority of the money they earn because they deserve it. We attract people that know that Keller Williams is the most advanced education and training real estate company and the largest real estate franchise system on the planet. We're in approximately 55 countries with approximately 170,000 agents with the most advanced technology in a world that is driven by the digital age that there is in real estate. We also, if that's not enough, profit share at 49% above a predictable expense line monthly. If you're interested in learning more about Keller Williams Realty NCW, give us a call today at 509-888-0038 and let's talk real estate. Have a great day.
You're listening to Keller Williams Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and friends. Now back to the show.
Hey, welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan, and today Lesle Bitterman. Leslie, we're talking about changing lives, and you did it 4 years ago. I met you. You became a real estate agent. You still are a server a couple days a week, still getting some of that coin, still meeting those friends. And this is the other thing.
My social time.
Yeah, well, it's networking, right? Mm-hmm. How many people do you tell, hey, I'm a real estate agent?
I actually probably have a real estate conversation probably 3 or 4 times every time I work.
Yeah. I learned this lesson from a friend of mine who was an auctioneer, or is an auctioneer. He's retired now, I guess, but he still works at Starbucks in Bellevue. And his auctioneering company was not doing well. And then he said, I got to get some insurance. So he went to work at Starbucks in the financial district in downtown Bellevue. And because he got that job, he started meeting executives of the big businesses there. And they said, okay, hey, I want to do an auction for my company. I want to do this. So now because of that networking, those people that he met, because he was a good guy, and then he was talented, of course, very talented. I've worked with him. In fact, we did some fundraising in the big fires years ago in Bellevue and raised a bunch of money thanks to him. And now he is retired in Chelan. But he still goes back to work at Starbucks because he loves the people. He has friendships and relationships and those networking conversations. I can't, bartending, being a server, working at a hotel. I mean, if you're talking to the public and there's an opportunity to get a real estate license in North Central Washington for free,
do it.
Do it.
Do it.
And what would you say about help? When you raise your hand and ask for help, are there people to help you?
Yes.
Could you describe that feeling and versus maybe what maybe you were worried? I don't know.
Well, I was kind of scared being all on my own, going into an industry that I didn't really know anything about. I knew I wanted to go there just because I like architecture and design and all that stuff. But I didn't know what to expect when I actually became an agent. So when I did, knowing all of the resources online, number one, are great, but the in-person support was phenomenal for me. Just knowing that I could call someone and ask them a question and not feel stupid.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
that's a real fear for a lot of people. They don't want to get outside their comfort zone because they're afraid of. That's a big deal. I mean, nobody wants to, be belittled. Nobody wants to feel stupid at anything. But there really isn't a stupid question in real estate, is there? I mean,
no, there is not.
now that you look back 4 years later, I'm just always intrigued because I've been doing this 3+ decades, right? So when I think about what it was like for me, I mean, that was a long time ago. So from your perspective, 4 years later, what were some of the very important things you could tell somebody that you probably think they're thinking, but maybe they're wrong, besides that the test is not hard?
You know more people than you actually think you do.
That's a good one.
Potentially you have influence over more people than you think that you do. Just getting your license, yes, that is the first step, but there's nothing to be afraid of. And it's just having a conversation, and everyone talks to everyone all the time. So it is that easy. When you're having a conversation with a friend, they mention that, oh my God, we're going to have to move. My landlord's upping our rent, which that conversation seems to be one that is coming up a lot lately. Just telling people that they do have options, and me being the one that can help them, someone that they know, that they're familiar with, it makes it gratifying helping those that I know and being able to find the solution that they need.
Yeah, well, you made a good point. People say, I don't have a database, because we call that a data bank, because we reach into that data bank, those people that that sphere of influence. Back in the day, we had to have notebooks, right? Pre-smartphones, we had to have actually like note cards and stuff with people, Rolodexes. Do you know how many people that work in our company that don't know what a Rolodex is? That was weird. That's a sign you're getting old. I said something the other day about James Dean, and half in the class, and they all looked at me like, "Who the hell's James Dean? Like, what's a Rolodex? Like, this guy's like 90. Who is this guy?"
I just saw a payphone again, which kind of brought back some memories.
Yeah,
Anyway.
I started with a beeper and a payphone. Yeah, and then a map at a gas station. But now you have a database in your phone. So I always tell people to pick up your phone when you say you don't know anybody and you don't have a database. Okay, go to the contacts. If you have an iPhone, on the right side, go to a little button. There's a A through Z. Just touch the Z at the bottom right-hand corner. Go to the bottom of your data, of your contacts, and there's a number. That's the total number of people you have in your phone. Well, that's your database. That's your sphere of influence. Those are the people that love you and that you love. And that's where you start. And if they know you're in real estate, they want to use you. They want your help. They trust you. That's the sphere, right? That's where there's so much money to be made. Now, for those people that just want the education and just want to refer, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfect. I was talking to an educator, and I was like, shouldn't they teach a real estate 101 class in high school? Because what are the first thing you do? You got to sign a lease. It's like, but they don't have a clue. And so often people get taken advantage of, they just don't know what they don't know. It's not their fault. But it's something that I think with a free real estate school, what's the worst that can happen if you're a driven person? It may be boring, I don't know. But guess what? Once it's done, you have that license to make money. You have that license to say, I'm not going to sell a house to anybody. That's not my game. But you know what I'm going to do? I know Lesle Bitterman, and I'm going to refer to her or whoever is in real estate that you know. And that brokerage, I know this brokerage because I'm the designated broker here, will pay you 25% of the commission. On your $1.5 million deal, what was that commission on the selling side?
I don't even remember.
It was like $35,000, $40,000.
I think it was
$40,000. Yeah. So
yeah.
if you were just the person that referred to you and happened to it was just a wild lead, right? We do a lot of lead generating here. We spend a lot of money lead generating for people here. 25% of 40 grand is a pretty nice hit.
That's a nice little chunk of change.
Yeah, like 10 grand.
Yeah.
How would you like to get a check for 10 grand from Keller Williams in the morning while you're having coffee when the envelope shows up for something you did 45 days ago that you don't remember?
For 5 minutes worth of work.
5 minutes worth of work. If you're in the hospitality business, if you're working with the public, if you know anybody, I mean anybody, And you're not doing that much right now in the winter. It gets dark at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can stop watching Yellowstone for a minute.
There are commercials.
There's commercials, and you can do it on your own time. So all you have to do is get a hold of us. You can just email me, Russ at frontlinechelan.com. You can talk to any one of our agents. You can call our office at 888-0038. Kelly is the master of the universe here, so she would be the one. Kelly Hain is our market center administrator, and she will hook you up. Her email, by the way, is kellyhain75@gmail.com if you don't want to talk to me. But I don't bite. This is real. We're going to do a seminar. Leslie, I'll work out the schedule, and Miss Lopeman said she would do it. She was, like I said earlier, she was at Applebee's for like 12 years. Single mom with 3 kids. There's nothing wrong with these industries. It's just an add-on if you want it. But she transitioned to being a full-time real estate broker and is excelling. Now, there's ups and downs, right, in real estate. There's, I call it, the old wide world of sports, again, terminology that people don't understand from 1975 or whatever. When I was a kid, that thrill of victory, agony of defeat. If you're older, if you grew up in the 70s, you probably remember that. It's not always perfect. You have to be willing to accept some good with the bad and some bad with the good. But if you want to start to change something, the first step is to just make the commitment, make the call, put the blinders on, do whatever you got to do to get yourself in the game. Because once you're in the game, would you say it gets easier?
Yes.
Get help?
Yes.
It's kind of funny that way, isn't it? It's really a lot more transparent, at least at our firm, than people realize. There's not a lot of people that are holding their cards close to their deck. No, I'm not telling you. This is, that's a scarcity mindset. We don't really breed that here. And that's weird about Keller Williams everywhere. I mean, I just think that's one of the things about our culture. Would you say that's fair?
Yes. Very open-armed here, willing to help.
Yeah. Lots of ways to do it. Lots of ways to do it. So we're gonna have this seminar. We're gonna have you back on a video podcast. We're gonna start that video podcast called Real Estate Madness. So you can go to realestatemadness.com. And that's probably a pretty good word for it because we predictably are unpredictable, and so it's a little bit of Mad Hatter, a little madness, a little craziness. But at the same time, what a fantastic story that you have to meet at Smitty's. You get your license. You've had your home rented for 14 years. You make a big commission almost at the same month, I think, if I remember right, that the landlord said, "Sorry, Leslie, got to sell the home." And you're like, "Still be sorry. I'm in a position to buy it."
I can do this.
And you did.
Mm-hmm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yeah, I just am so about this winter people changing their life. And I think if we all just focus on helping each other a little bit more, and we're a little bit more open-armed and a little bit more of having, grace and forgiveness and generosity as part of the business plan this winter, I think we all win. So thank you for coming.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're awesome. Love you. All right. We'll be right back with Michael Maher and PrimeLending and see what kind of crazy turbulence we were dealing with in the mortgage business.
Keller Williams, you make dreams come true. Whoa, sweet home.
With the new Keller Williams School of Real Estate, you can now get your license for free. Access tools, tips, and personalized coaching with Keller Williams' award-winning training programs, and start off your career in real estate the right way. K-Score is 100% online and entirely free to students, with pre-licensing curriculum geared toward placing aspiring agents on a direct path to licensure and profitability. With K-Score, we're not just unlocking the door, we're opening every door to anyone that's ever dreamed of starting their career in real estate. We're making a difference for you so that you can make a difference for others. Now available for all individuals in Washington. Your future awaits. Enroll today.
We're excited. We got a lot of people signing up, so give us a call, 509-888-0038, or simply email us at joinus@kwnCW.com. Let's go from being stuck to unstuck. Hi, this is Russ McClellan, operating partner with Keller Williams Realty and the host of this show, Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. I want to take just a minute to say a heartfelt thank you for your support and tuning into our show each and every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. I personally have made some amazing friendships as a direct result of this radio show, and I couldn't be more grateful. As always, throw the phone in the drawer, be present, spend some time with your friends and loved ones, and make it a fantastic Saturday. Thanks again for your amazing support of Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends.
You're enjoying the Real Estate Show, Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. Here's more with Russ.
Welcome back to Home Sweet Home with Russ McClellan and Friends. Lesle Bitterman, man, she's the real deal. She also mentioned something when she walked out that we should have talked about. She now, when she became a real estate broker, all of a sudden she has a lot more time than being tied down to shifts, even though she's still working a couple days a week. So she said, she should have said that she has more time to spend with her grandbabies, because that was a big win. Hey, Michael, this is Michael Maher with PrimeLending. As always, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, and kind of a an interesting show for sure. We're coming to a close, and I'm excited to talk to people one last time.
Yeah, we've been on this radio show for about 5 years, which is kind of wild. I remember when I did the first little audition in the basement somewhere, and it wasn't that good. So I'm surprised I got on. But 5 years later, time goes by, man. And, we're not going to give up. We're going to be moving to realestatemadness.com. We're going to be doing a podcast, video podcast. We're going to be talking real estate and mortgage and all kinds of things. And again, it's like right now with mortgages, man, you got to think outside the box. And just like we did radio for 5 years, and it was a tremendous opportunity. And I'm very grateful to AM, 560 KPQ News and JP being our producer. He's the man. Very grateful for all that you and Sharon and PrimeLending have done for the show and being a co-host with me on this show. But change is life. That is the only constant in life, I think, is change. So I'm excited. I'm excited to start something new. I've never done a video podcast. I mean, it seems like everybody else does, but I'm excited about it. And mortgages are the same way, right? I mean, we're doing some very different things from a year ago, right?
Oh yeah. No, definitely. So when it comes to the shifting market and changing, the one thing we've kind of, been talking about over the last few years on this show is just creativity, out of the box thinking. That's always what I've tried to make sure people understand that are listening to the show, is that there are always options out there. And whatever you get, don't take it on face value when it comes to a bank or even another lender in the industry. Or whatever it might be. Just know that the creative options that I've kind of outlined over the last few years, it's going to continue going. We're going to see more and more of those options come as the market continues to shift. And I guess it's just making sure I leave people with the message before we move on to a different platform. It's just making sure that they understand that, and that don't take no for an answer unless someone gives you a plan, and so on. So it's really just making sure that people know there's always options and always opportunities and out of the box type of creative ways to make things happen. If someone's wanting to buy a house and they need to renovate it, there's a way to do that. If someone doesn't have a lot of cash on hand and need help with a down payment, there's a way to do that. If someone wants to get the seller to buy the rate down, especially in this market, there's a way to do that. So I guess it's just making sure people understand, not to just take the first option that they're given.
Yeah, and I think especially if that option is not going to work.
Correct.
Don't, like you said, don't take it as gospel. It's not cemented. There are different levels of experience. There's different levels of education and talent in everything. In real estate brokers and mortgage brokers and lawyers and insurance brokers, every profession, there's different levels. And so this concept that there's a one size fits all, and you know what? It's sad, but people sell that, right? There's a lot of people that sell my way or the highway. It's the only way. And when someone hears that, especially if they respect them or if they are, referred to a certain person and that person says, I've been doing this 25 years and you just don't qualify. Hey, man, at least go get 3 no's. Don't just take one no. Go
Exactly.
And if you get a yes, but it's a little uncomfortable, go get 2 more yeses. I tell people to interview I'm taking listings, I just tell people, look, there's a difference between what I do and what other people do. And I'm not arrogant or braggadocious. There's people that are way better at this game than I am. But I want you to go interview other people so you can find out what the differences are for yourself. And then maybe at that point, we can have a conversation and we can, get your place listed. I do that almost every time. Because if you're confident in what you do, like you are, Michael, and you guys work hard. I mean, this is the thing. You guys work really, really hard at keeping yourself up to speed because the world of mortgages is not constant, right? It changes.
Oh, not at all. Yep.
So when we're moving on to other platforms, I mean, we'll still, and who knows, maybe we'll be back on the radio too. You never know. That's the one thing about the future, right? Yogi Berra said it best, famous Yankee baseball coach, New York Yankee baseball coach. He said, predicting things, one of my favorite quotes, predicting things is very, very difficult, especially about the future.
Very true.
He also said you would be a lot better if you weren't so bad. Things like that.
Even better. I like that too. I think that speaks volumes in our industry still to this day. No.
Yeah. I mean, there's blowhards in every business, right? I mean, there's people that are all show and no go, whatever the cliche you want to use. So you're going to find 2 types of people. And Michael and Sharon with PrimeLending are this type of person. They will find a solution for every problem. It may not be a solution that you can do day one. We all go through stuff in life. Bankruptcies, foreclosures, divorces, miss your payments. So what? Life happens, right? Don't beat yourself up over that. And don't let a banker, a mortgage broker, a real estate broker beat you up over that. We've all been there. I've been there many times. I've been broke and not broke a couple different times. That's just called life, right? And so you just got to get around people that, instead of those people that have a problem for every solution, you find positive people that you can trust to have your back and to work hard for you. And that's what you and Sharon at PrimeLending do. And I guys, I'm telling you, I've witnessed it. I don't even know how many loans you guys have done for our company, but a lot. And you've helped a lot of people.
Yep.
So in these years we've been doing the show, it's been really, really fun to share the different programs, all those things you talked about. And I'm very grateful for what you've added to the show as a co-host and what PrimeLending's done. So I'm excited. I think that there's more opportunity right now in real estate than there has been in a very, very long time.
No, I agree. And on that positivity note, I know this particular program is taped a little bit in advance, but as of this taping, the CPI reports and everything involving inflation looks to be that things are maybe starting to get a little more under control, and we've seen some rate decreases. Obviously, that's nothing to speak to what will happen in the future, but on that note of what you said, I'm excited. Things are changing. They're shifting. It needed to happen. We were under some kind of false pretenses of what was going on the last couple of years with COVID, and it's good to get into a more balanced, normal market that'll give sellers a good opportunity to sell for good prices and buyers good opportunities to buy at even better prices and have some negotiating power. I think we're all ready for this to get back into a little more normalized, and I'm excited to see what the future holds for sure.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I just heard recently, there was a big national conference for real estate agents, the National Association of Realtors, and one of the economists said there's a quarter of the homes for sale now that there was in 2008.
Yep.
And they predict the price to go up next year a little bit. Stable, but not to crash. There's just, the demand's too high. So what's funny about the industry of real estate, I've been at it, I started in 1989, man. I was like 19 years old. And I think there's been a balanced real estate market about 6 minutes, about every decade. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
It's all about perception. It's all about strategy and understanding your business and how do you help your your friends and family and clients and sphere of influence. Be better prepared to navigate whatever waters we're sailing in. It doesn't mean that the boat has to sink, right? I think you're exactly right. What would you rather have? I talked a little bit about it with Leslie earlier in the show, but would you rather have a market where you have to pay $60,000 over asking with no inspections at all and take the chance of buying a lemon at 3%? Or would you rather have the ability to actually inspect the house to make sure that you don't make a horrible mistake and get a seller that maybe is a little bit more flexible, can help buy down the interest rate to help get your payment in line? And then when the rate goes down in time, maybe it's a year, maybe it's 5 years, you refinance.
Yeah.
I'd rather see my clients, my friends, my family buy in this market than to do some of the crazy stuff that was unfortunately demanded of buyers back when there was 1,000 buyers for every house that was for sale. I mean, there were some crazy things happening that I just never really approved of. In fact, we made it a policy that we had to send emails to people that say, we really don't want you to not have an inspection. And they would just look at us and, as a buyer and go, well, if we don't do it, we can't get the house. I'm like, yeah, but still, you should get, I know, I get why you want to do it, but still, that's a risky game. And I'm kind of glad we're out of it. I'm glad we're back to some resemblance of normalcy. And just know this, there's a way. You just got to call Michael. What's the best way to get a hold of you, Mike?
Yep. 425-760-8824 is the best. And like I said, we're working on some other things for the podcast, and Russ, I'm sure, has shared plenty of that. So we look forward to, anybody else coming over to listen to us, and we'll get you more great information as the future comes. So. All
right. realestatemadness.com. You got to check out the website. It'll be up and running by January. And just wanted to thank everybody for everything you've done and for following our show for 5 years. Really, really appreciate it. Give me a call anytime at 509-470-2416. That's my personal cell. Thank you. Thank you, Michael, from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
Signing off one last time.